What if space isn't a sea you swim through, but a stage that never moves at all, not elastic, not flowing, just there? Here's the paradox. If space is perfectly static, why does anything move? Simple truth. Massive things are the ones doing the moving. Physics is the math of their collisions with a massless stage. Picture space as a giant grid of invisible, immutable nodes. They don't flex, they don't drift, they're constant. A solid object moving doesn't ride the grid, it animates nodes. It touches lighting up squares as it passes. When it stops, nodes stop animating, the object regains its initial weight. Weight isn't a force pressing down, it's the cost of being motionless on a stage that never moves for you. Start moving and you trade weight for motion, your path becomes a geodesic curve, the natural line of least resistance across the node map. That's why falling feels inevitable. You're not being pulled, you follow the smoothest route the stage allows. Now, here's the breakthrough. Our tools treat massive stuff as main characters and space as background scenery, but this engine, it treats the stage with the same indifference it treats us. No preference, no bias, just raw interaction. In practice, I can describe motion without pretending space is stretching or curving or whispering forces. I account for massive objects animating nodes, regaining initial weight at rest, and following geodesic curves when left alone. The equations get cleaner. The stage is constant stage, massive actors, collisions and paths. That's it. It sounds radical, but it's simpler. You don't need space to push you or carry you. You need a rule book. The stage never changes, the actors do. Build an engine that respects that and you get motion weight and falling, no magic, no extra layers, just the geometry of a fixed stage meeting the momentum of things that can move. Space stays still. Okay, picture this. Space itself is massless, just the stage, no weight, and behind that stage, a giant invisible push shows up. I call it the expanse, a pressure wave, a second wave that lingers, propagating through everything. Then it pushes me. Hard. What happens? First, I wouldn't feel wind on my face because it's not air doing the shoving. It's the stage moving under my feet, like a treadmill, but cosmic. If the push is perfectly uniform, I'd accelerate with the whole local neighborhood. Relative to the push, I'm chill. Relative to anything not in the push, I'm suddenly hauling. So what would I do? I'd turn my body into a sail for space-time pressure, not flapping a cape, more like orienting myself to ride the gradient. Where the push is stronger, I lean in. Where it dips, I coast. It's surfing, but the water is the map, not the territory. I'd watch for the front edge, the moment the lingering pressure ramps. That's the pop. I'd time my moves there, small angles, low drag, maximum gain when the wave crest passes. If I had tools, I'd plant anchors into regions less affected, think gravity wells, as temporary resistance. Then, release at peak pressure to slingshot. Senses would get weird. Clocks squish, distances stretch. If the expanse carries me faster relative to some distant frame, signals lag, colors shift. My rule, ride smooth, measure often, trust instruments over vibes. Morally, I'd avoid becoming a wrecking ball. A push that picks me up might bulldoze what's not ready. So I'd pick corridors of empty space, and I'd broadcast a heads up, wave inbound. If the pressure fades but lingers, I'd keep a little velocity the way a skateboard keeps speed after a pump. Then repeat, catch the next propagating stage. Endgame? I'd map the expanse like swell charts for surfers. Forecast the second wave. Plot routes, turn a scary shove into a new kind of navigation. If space got pushed, and you felt it, would you fight it, or would you learn to ride? I know my answer. I'm grabbing the board.